Hi, this is Dr. Perry Carpenter. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join me on this week's video. On this week's video, we're in session number 4 of our ongoing special bulletin regarding the new medical legal fee schedule. And at the time of this recording is being made approximately 7 to 9 days from the anticipated effective implementation date of the new medical legal fee schedule, which is projected to be implemented on April 1st, 2021. So we're about 7 days out from that effective date. And I'm going to come to you with one more discussion next week as we arrive at the cusp of the implementation date. And then I'm going to wait for about 2 weeks before coming back to you with a new discussion to share with you what it is that we've learned since the effective implementation date on April 1st. So our last broadcast in this series will come around April 15th after we've lived in the new medical legal fee schedule for approximately 2 weeks. And at that time, I'll share with you what is known at that time about how to use the new medical legal fee schedule. So just to review where we've come from so far in this program, in session 1, we talked about the history and the philosophy of the need for the new medical legal fee schedule. And critically, in November 2019, the state auditor did an audit of the Division of Workers' Compensation and found that there were problems in the workers' compensation system, and the state auditor traced many of those problems directly to the Qualified Medical Evaluator. And since it's the medical unit at the Division of Workers' Compensation that monitors the QME program, the blame for the problems in the workers' compensation system fell squarely on the shoulders of the medical unit at the Division of Workers' Compensation, at the DWC. So the DWC set about changing the system, and the new medical legal fee schedule is a pivotal piece. It's not the only piece, but it's a pivotal piece, and it's the first piece to be implemented in the overhaul of the QME program as we know it. So in session number 1, we talked about how at the fee schedule committee meetings, the players, referred to as the stakeholders, laid out on the table, they laid their cards out for all to see, and each of the stakeholders had an opportunity to explain the particular incentives from which they operate in the workers' compensation system, and specifically in the QME program. And QMEs explained that they wanted to make more money and have less hassles in doing injured workers evaluations. And the claims payers explained that they wanted to have less costs, less supplemental reports, less reevaluations, and better initial reports that would push the case along its progression toward a successful conclusion. So QMEs wanted to be paid more, claims payers wanted to have better and higher quality reports. So the Division of Workers' Compensation set out to have realized both of these objectives, to provide for greater pay for qualified medical evaluators so that the QMEs could have their incentives realized. And then also they established a report quality committee whose long-range purpose is to educate qualified medical evaluators about what constitutes a high-quality report so that over time QME reports could get better and better and could actually resolve disputed issues so that the claims payers' incentives could be realized. And so we talked about how the new medical legal fee schedule is a piece in the puzzle of realizing both parties' particular objectives and incentives. In parts 2 and 3 of this discussion, we dissected the new codes, the new medical legal codes, ranging from the new ML200 code all the way to the ML205 code. And as we went through each of these particular codes, I shared with you and showed you where the incentive is built into the code for the claims payer and where the incentive is built into the code for the Qualified Medical Evaluator. Now, this was interesting. This was interesting because while it appears on the surface that the new medical legal fee schedule appears to favor the claims payer, within each of the medical legal codes is a hidden golden nugget for the Qualified Medical Evaluator. And in these sessions, sessions 2 and 3, I shared with you how to discover and how to exploit that golden nugget so that you can remain profitable as a Qualified Medical Evaluator under the new medical legal fee schedule. And that brings us to today's session. In today's session, I want to share with you a couple of case examples of evaluations that are coming up after April 1st, 2021. And I want to show you how these cases are going to be evaluated under the new medical legal fee schedule. And we're going to dissect these cases down to the time element and down to the money element so that you can use these ideas in planning your future evaluations under the new medical legal fee schedule. So the new medical legal fee schedule, as you know, involves flat rate fee reimbursements for initial face-to-face evaluations, for follow-up face-to-face evaluations, and for supplemental reports. All of these, which in the past involved some element of time-based coding, time-based billing codes, the new medical legal fee schedule offers only flat rate reimbursements for these levels of service that we as Qualified Medical Evaluators do all the time, that make up the bulk of the work that we do. So within each of these codes, even though there's a flat rate fee reimbursement for each of these codes, there is a golden nugget there for you as a Qualified Medical Evaluator. And in today's discussion, I want to dissect a couple of those codes with some actual case examples for evaluations that are coming up over the next couple weeks, and show you how you can prepare and plan for your upcoming evaluations so that you can win under the new medical legal fee schedule. Okay, so with that as our introduction today, let's begin today's session, which is session number 4, all about the new medical legal fee schedule. Okay, so let's begin. And what I have for you today is I have examples of the 3 types of service that we as Qualified Medical Evaluators engage in most frequently. And that is the initial face-to-face evaluation, the follow-up face-to-face evaluation, and the supplemental report. Now, each of these that I'm going to share with you today are actual case examples of evaluations that are coming up after the effective implementation date of the new medical legal fee schedule. And I want to outline and share with you some of the details that are involved in each of these cases to show you how those details factor in to the preparation and the actual evaluation and the actual completion of the QME report in each of these particular cases. Now, as you consider your upcoming evaluations, some of these scenarios and situations that I'm going to share with you today will apply to your evaluations as well. And you can factor these ideas into your own preparation for your own evaluations. And if you think about it, the situations, scenarios, and circumstances that come to us as Qualified Medical Evaluators are not infinite. So some of these circumstances that I'm going to share with you are operative in many, if not all, of your evaluations that you are assigned to. And so while it seems that the examinees that come to us for evaluations are infinite, each with their own distinct and unique face and name and particular story, the situations and circumstances and the big picture involved with the case are actually quite finite, some of which I'm going to share with you today. So the first example I have for you involves a comprehensive face-to-face evaluation. Now, this particular evaluation that's coming up on April 3rd is a comprehensive evaluation because this particular examinee was last seen on April 25, 2018. And in order to qualify as a comprehensive evaluation, the examinee has to not have been seen by you for greater than 18 months. So this code, this ML201 code, involves either your first time evaluation with a new examinee, or it involves a follow-up evaluation greater than 18 months after your first face-to-face evaluation. So this examinee was seen over 2 years ago, so this new upcoming, which is actually a reevaluation, qualifies as a comprehensive first face-to-face evaluation. So that's good. That's good that the examinee fits into the classification of the greater than 18 month, which allows this particular evaluation to be coded under the ML201 medical legal code. So for this evaluation, I received a 5-page cover letter. Oh, let me go back. So this examinee was first seen on 9/25/18. She was scheduled for a follow-up evaluation about 13 months later on 10/18/19. This is important. Now, for this reevaluation, I received a 5-page cover letter. I received 3 dates of service of medical records following the first face-to-face evaluation. So the examinee had not had a lot of medical treatment in the 1 year since I saw her. So it only involved three medical records, 3 dates of service. Well, the examinee had a late cancellation and did not attend the follow-up evaluation. And under the old medical legal fee schedule, as you know, there's no reimbursement required by law for a missed appointment. But we did bill the claims payer $400. The claims payer reimbursed us $250 for the missed appointment. Now, this is important because some work had been done here in reviewing the medical records, in preparing for the evaluation, and confirming the examinee. All that work had already been done, for which we received reimbursement only at the rate of $250. Now, under the new medical legal fee schedule, this cancellation would have been reimbursed automatically by law under ML Code 200 at $503.75. So you might think that at this point we're down $253 comparing the old medical legal fee schedule with the new medical legal fee schedule. So just hold on to that in your mental calculator. Well, after this canceled appointment on 10/18/19, she was then rescheduled for 6/27/20, again with a late cancel, for which we billed the claims payer $400, and we received $0 reimbursement. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of work that went into this rescheduling of the examinee, because a lot of the work had already been done here, and the file was still prepped, the exam was still prepped, the report template was still prepped. So this late cancel under the new medical legal fee schedule would again have been reimbursed at $503.75. So just on the history of this particular evaluation, the new medical legal fee schedule for this particular examinee would have reimbursed us over $1,000 just for 2 missed appointments that involved very little work, very few medical records. So under the new medical legal fee schedule, at least for missed appointments, we would have won. The new medical legal fee schedule creates a win for us as qualified medical evaluators when the examination does not move forward, whereas the old medical legal fee schedule basically left us with a lump of coal licking our wounds when the examinee's evaluation was aborted for one reason or another. Well, anyway, so that brings us to this point in time, and this examinee is again scheduled for April 3rd, 2021. Now, on April 3rd, 2021, the evaluation is going to be coded under ML201 for $2,015. Now, under the old medical legal fee schedule, this evaluation would probably have been an ML102, possibly an ML103, but I doubt it because there is not any new medical records other than these 3 dates of service that were completed over 2 years ago. So this evaluation would likely come in probably at about an ML102 for $625. Well, under the ML201, this is going to provide for a flat rate reimbursement of $2,015. So what we know about this evaluation so far is that it has 0 pages of new medical records. The only medical records that are new after I saw the examinee first on 2018 are these 3 dates of service. So for this evaluation, I've already reviewed those medical records years ago, and there's nothing new. So the review of records time to review and input those into the template has already been done. I did it back here in 2019. This involves 0 minutes. So under the old fee schedule, this evaluation would have paid either $625 or $937.50. Now, under the new medical legal fee schedule, it's going to pay $2,015, more than a doubling of the rate provided for under the old medical legal fee schedule. Now, under the old medical legal fee schedule, to get the $937.50 under the prior code ML103 requires at least a 4-hour commitment between face-to-face and review of records, and this one simply didn't have the records. So this code would be unlikely. The more likely billing level would be $625. So this one's going to pay $2,015, which is a win. This is a case where the new medical legal fee schedule provides for a win for the qualified medical evaluator. And now, exercising my incentive under this new code, I know that the code provides for a maximum of 6 hours of time invested in this ML201 comprehensive face-to-face evaluation. So if I can get the evaluation done in 6 hours or less, I can win. I can win because my hourly rate goes higher and higher and higher the quicker that this evaluation can be completed. And I'm sure that you can imagine that with no pages of medical records and no time involved in reviewing the medical records within the report template, all that's left to do the evaluation is simply to take the examination measurements, determine the examinee's presence or absence of permanent impairment, resolve the issues, and be done with it. And if it can be done in less than 6 hours, that represents a win for the qualified medical evaluator. So there are circumstances where the new medical legal fee schedule is going to greatly benefit the qualified medical evaluator, and it seems to involve those cases that would prior have been evaluated under the ML102 and ML103 levels. So for those levels of billing, if you can complete the evaluation in a timely fashion, you can be paid double or even triple that which was provided for under the old medical legal fee schedule. Okay? So that's an example of an initial comprehensive face-to-face evaluation. Let's take a look at a re-evaluation and some of the circumstances that surround the ML202 billing code. Okay, so that one involved a comprehensive or a new face-to-face evaluation, and that was an example where the new medical legal fee schedule can benefit you as a qualified medical evaluator if you can complete the report quickly, timely, and I should say accurately. And by accurately, I mean that you can successfully resolve the disputed issues to the satisfaction of the parties. So in that scenario, the qualified medical evaluator experiences a great win because he gets paid more money for the same amount of work as prior. So that's the qualified medical evaluator realizing his incentive. And then if you can produce a report that satisfies the parties and allows the parties to move the case forward, then the party's incentive will be realized simultaneously. So that's a win-win scenario. Now, part of the reason that that particular example was a great win for me was because while it was actually a reevaluation of the examinee, the reevaluation came greater than 18 months since the prior face-to-face evaluation. And that language is built into the code. The 18-month timeline is built in the code. If that particular language was not built into the code, then this, or I should say then that evaluation would simply have qualified as a reevaluation. And the reevaluation in under 18 months has its own separate code, and I want to share that with you here in this example. Well, under this example, the new code for reevaluation, new face-to-face evaluation, is ML202, and this reimburses much lower at $13.16.25. Now, whereas in the prior example, using the initial comprehensive code, ML201, resulted in a great win for me as a qualified medical evaluator. Had that evaluation fallen under this code, less than 18 months, the ML202 code, I believe I would have taken it in the shorts. And I'm going to share with you some of those calculations in this example. But this example perfectly illustrates the incentive that's built into these new codes, in particular, that's built into the reevaluation codes. Remember, going back to the fee schedule committee meetings, the claims payers told us, laid it out on the table in crystal clear, plain as day terms, that they are trying to eliminate costly reevaluations and costly supplemental reports that simply introduce delays in the resolution of the claim. They want to see these claims moving forward quicker to a resolution, and this is an example of where the qualified medical evaluator is disincentivized to get involved with follow-up face-to-face evaluations and supplemental reports, and I'm going to share with you both of those examples. So with regards to the reevaluation, this particular examinee I saw on 8/11/20. So I'm going to be seeing this examinee on April 3rd. So approximately 8 months between the initial and the follow-up. So this is going to be reimbursed at $13.16.25. And this evaluation has built into it about 4 hours of total doctor time, including face-to-face, including producing the report. The entire evaluation needs to be completed in about 4 hours in order to realize the new hourly rate of $325 per hour. Well, under the old medical legal fee schedule, this would be billed on a time-based billing code under the ML101, which is time-based, which is simply based on time. So we have a time-based billing code versus a flat rate fee reimbursement. So just considering these codes, what is the qualified medical evaluator's incentive under the old code? Is to exhaust time, correct? Is to spend whatever time is necessary on the evaluation that it takes to do a good job, that it takes to resolve the issue, that it takes to do a fabulous examination, that it takes to do a good activities of daily living assessment in the face-to-face evaluation. This prior billing code favors time, The new medical legal code, under the new medical legal fee schedule, favors expediency. It favors quickness. It favors accuracy. Under the new medical legal code, time is penalized because this particular code only has about 4 hours built into it. Okay, so let's see what happened. With this particular evaluation, I received 176 pages of records from the claims administrator. There was a 3-page cover letter, and in the 176 pages of medical records, the new records included 5 dates of service prior to the first face-to-face evaluation. In other words, these were records that were not included when I first saw this examinee face-to-face, but they were for dates of service before the face-to-face. And then there were 7 dates of service following the first face-to-face. So these were medical records between the dates of 8/11/20 here and the date of the reevaluation, which is April 3rd, 2021. So that was 12 new entries into the review of records, and that consumed 40 pages of records. So therefore, subtracting out the 3-page cover letter, there was 133 pages of duplicate records. There was some records in there, mixed records of another employee, administrative records, fax cover sheets, 133 pages of gibberish, of junk, of nonsense that had nothing to do with the evaluation. And interestingly, these 133 pages were required to be sifted through and sorted through and collated by me on my time and on my dime. In other words, the claims administrator, she didn't take the time to sort out from these 176 pages only the new dates of service here, which was 40 pages. She didn't sort out the essential relevant 40 pages. She sent me the whole mishmash jumbled stack and required that I, on my dime and my time, review those records. So I had to sort and collate those, whereas I had wished that she had sorted and collated those records. But under the new billing code, the ML102, claims administrator has no incentive to sort and collate those records for us. She has every incentive to send those records to us, because this new code, the ML202 code, allows for up to 200 pages of new medical records that were not previously reviewed for the initial face-to-face evaluation. So you can expect this type of abuse. You can expect the claims administrator to send you a pile of junk and require you to sift through it to come up with the new medical records that you then get to read and that you then get to input into the body of your report. Well, on this particular case, it took me 120 minutes to sift through the records, to identify the new medical records, to read those medical records, and to input those new medical records within the body of my report. Took 120 minutes. Well, under the prior old medical legal fee schedule, which allowed for time-based billing, this 2 hours of review of records would be reimbursed at $250 per hour. So at this point in time, I would be already at $500 of billing, just related to the review of records. Then I would see the examinee face-to-face. Then I would order diagnostic studies. Then I would produce my report, and I would bill for this under a time-based billing code. Well, what's the chances that the time-based billing would exceed 13, 16, 25? Simply 6 hours total time would exceed this 13, 16 fixed rate reimbursement. Well, under the new medical legal fee schedule, after 2 hours of review of records, I'm at $0 of billing, and I'm down 2 hours of time towards the 4 hours that are allocated for the complete evaluation. So think of it. I have to see the examinee face-to-face and complete my report and get it in the mail now in just 2 hours. I'm already down 2 hours. There's only 4 hours built into the code. I've got to do everything left in less than 2 hours. So is that possible? Probably not. So under this particular code, I don't perceive this as a win for the qualified medical evaluator. So the take-home principle on this is you don't want to be involved in re-evaluations, new face-to-face, because you're going to be losing time on the review of records for which you're not going to be reimbursed, and the examination and the completion of the report, both of those cycles of action, have to be completed quick, such that total time, all aggregate, is less than 4 hours. And that creates, in my opinion, it can be done, but in other cases it won't be done. In those cases where you cannot do it in less than 4 hours, your hourly rate starts to plummet very quickly, especially when the claims administrator has no incentive to sift and sort through the medical records for us. So, in my opinion, this is a manifestation of the overall objective of the claims payers, is to compensate us very, very sparingly for reevaluation reports and to compensate us very, very sparingly for supplemental reports, which I'll share with you now. Okay, so we've looked at a initial comprehensive evaluation under ML Code 201. We've looked at a follow-up face-to-face evaluation under ML 202. Let's take a look now at the supplemental report under ML 203. Now, under the old medical legal fee schedule, supplemental reports were billed under ML 106. This is a time-based billing code, and now they're billed under the flat rate fee of $650 under ML 203. So let's see how the old medical legal fee schedule stacks up with the new medical legal fee schedule as relates to a supplemental report. Now, for this supplemental report, I received this on my desk about a week ago, and it involved a 2-page cover letter and an 18-page PR4 report. And I thought to myself at the time, I wonder which medical legal fee schedule I should bill this under. And I decided that I was going to bill it under the new medical legal fee schedule at $650, but I kept exacting track of my time to see how the time would compare and how the billing would compare under the former or the old medical legal fee schedule. So under the new medical legal fee schedule, since the rate of reimbursement is a flat fixed rate, I determined myself to complete this evaluation, this supplemental report, in the shortest amount of time possible so that I could maximize my hourly rate. Okay? Now, this new billing rate has built into it about 2 hours of time involved by the qualified medical evaluator. So 650 divided by 2 is 325. Under the old medical legal fee schedule, if I could have the evaluation done in less than 2.5 hours, remember the old medical legal fee schedule, ML 106, allows for $250 per hour. So 650 divided by 250 is about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. If I could get the supplemental report done in less than 2.5 hours, I would have won by using the new medical legal fee schedule compared to the old medical legal fee schedule. And similarly, if I could get the evaluation done in less than 2 hours, I would certainly have exceeded the new medical legal fee schedule allowance, which would again create a big win for me as the evaluator. So let's go over the times involved with this particular supplemental report. So now, mind you, under the new billing code, ML 203, I'm incentivized to get this supplemental report done in the shortest time possible. So that was my objective, and that's what I set out to do. So on the first day, I spent 17 minutes rushing and hurrying through the cover letter and the 18-page PR4 report. I did it in 17 minutes. Okay? This is the time that it took for me to wrap my head around the issues involved and to determine what it was that the defense attorney was asking for. It took about 17 minutes. Then I set about, in the fastest time possible, moving as quickly as I could, concentrating and focusing. I set 24 minutes up. It took me to prepare the supplemental report. In other words, to open up Microsoft Word, to input or import the examinee's demographics, to put the address on the top of the page, and to get the report template set up such that I could complete this supplemental report. Okay? So that was the first day. Now the next day, because I'd had an opportunity to think about these issues overnight and mentally prepare myself for what was necessary to do, I set out on the very next day to complete this supplemental report in as little time as possible. And it took me, on this particular day, 108 minutes of focused time, moving quickly with no delay, no bathroom breaks, no phone calls, no emails, focused time to complete the evaluation. Now, I should tell you that within this 180 minutes, there was an issue in this supplemental report related to cartilage intervals of the knee. Now, I remembered that I had a CD disc of recent x-rays in this examinee's file. So I ran down to storage where I keep these files. And storage is about 300 yards from my office. So I ran down there, I retrieved the file, got the CD disc, ran back to my office. Remember, I'm trying to minimize the time involved with billing under this code. So here I was sprinting, sprinting down to storage and back. And then when I got back to the office, I loaded up the CD, which, as you know, takes sometimes a couple of minutes to get the software to engage. I opened up the images, measured the cartilage intervals, put a table in the report template wherein I reported on the cartilage intervals. And this 108 minutes probably involves about 20 minutes just involved with that CD and retrieving that CD from storage. So this time could have possibly been as low as maybe 88 minutes, which would have made my total time of 149 minutes, maybe 20 minutes less, maybe down to as low as 130 minutes. And 130 minutes is close to 2 hours, but it's greater than 2 hours. So this is greater than 2 hours. Well, the ML203 code has built into it about 2 hours of time. So under the new billing code, I'm starting to see my hourly rate dwindle. And the numbers of it were as follows: 149 minutes of actual hard focused time, moving as quickly as I could. Under the old medical legal fee schedule at $250 per hour, would bill out at $620.83. Well, under the new fee schedule, it bills at $650. So comparing the two fee schedules, I probably made $29 by using the new medical legal fee schedule compared to the old medical legal fee schedule. But under the new medical legal fee schedule, my hourly rate is dipping below $325 per hour because it involved almost 2.5 hours of work. So if we take $650 and divide by 2.48 hours, my hourly rate on this was only $262, whereas the Division of Workers' Compensation intends us to be paid at $325 per hour. So on this particular evaluation, I consider this particular supplemental report to have represented a loss of both time and money, because if I was billing this under the old fee schedule, under the ML 106, I probably would not have rushed so much. I probably would have taken a little bit more time. I probably would have spent more time on the report to address a couple more of the issues that were requested by the defense attorney. In other words, I could have done an even better job, a more thorough job, a more comprehensive job if time was not an issue. Under the old time-based billing code, we're allowed to spend as much time as it takes to resolve the issue, and I probably would have taken more than the 149 minutes, which would have certainly exceeded the $650 of billing reimbursement. In fact, with just another 0.52 hours, another 30 minutes invested in the report, this report would have billed out at $750 under the old medical legal fee schedule. So I believe this is another example where the claims payers attempt to realize their incentive, and that is to discourage us from qualified medical evaluators from soliciting supplemental reports, which is incentivized, which is positively incentivized under the new medical legal fee schedule. So if we consider these three case examples, the one involving the initial comprehensive, the follow-up face-to-face, and now the follow-up supplemental report, now that you see some of the math and some of the incentives operative in each of these billing codes, how can you as the qualified medical evaluator succeed under this new incentive scheme? So knowing some of the math behind these new medical legal billing codes, how can you as a qualified medical evaluator succeed? How can you actually remain profitable under these new flat rate reimbursement schemes that have been implemented now by the Division of Workers' Compensation? Well, I'm going to suggest to you that you succeed by helping the system, by helping the stakeholders, by helping the claims payers to realize their incentives. You can realize your incentive as a qualified medical evaluator of getting paid more money for less time involved and less work involved when, if, and only if you can help the claims payers also simultaneously realize their incentive of reducing costs and reducing delays and allowing the forward progression of the claim to its resolution. And you as a qualified medical evaluator can succeed if you can do this quickly. The new medical legal fee schedule rewards the qualified medical evaluator who can quickly and accurately resolve disputed issues, and emphasis is on the word quickly. Now, you do this by having no duplication of effort. When you start getting into supplemental reports and follow-up face-to-face evaluations where you're required to duplicate your efforts to restart up, to re-begin the evaluation, the startup is expensive. And you eliminate that expense by having no duplication of effort. Now, this is contradictory to the prior incentive under the old medical legal fee schedule where qualified medical evaluators were incentivized to duplicate their efforts. They were incentivized to schedule follow-up face-to-face evaluations. They're incentivized to provide a long string of supplemental reports. You know, under the old medical legal fee schedule, qualified medical evaluators operated under the principle that there's never enough time to do it correctly the first time, but there's always enough time to do it a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, because you can bill for it. But those days are over. There is no handsome and unlimited pocketbook anymore. And as we reviewed under the prior two examples, follow-up face-to-face evaluations and supplemental reports are very tightly guarded in the time that's allocated to those particular cycles of action. So time is critical, and you will be rewarded if you can resolve disputed issues the first time through with your report. So what does that require? That requires that you get better and better and better at identifying the disputed issues and then at resolving those disputed issues. So let me share with you some ideas that will help you quickly get to the point and resolve disputed issues so that you can remain profitable and you can go about your life. Okay? So, secret of success number 1 has to do with getting the big picture, with stepping back from the details, the minute details of your case, stepping back and getting the big picture of the evaluation. And it begins by determining which labor code is the code that's driving the need for the evaluation. If you can identify which labor code, and there's only 3 of them, that's driving the need for the evaluation, then you can determine the issue that's in dispute and you can resolve the disputed issue quickly, forgetting about everything else but the disputed issue. You can get right to the point, resolve that issue, and get on with it and get your report in the mail. So if the evaluation is driven under Labor Code 4060, if it's driven under Labor Code 4061 or 4062, determine that in advance of the face-to-face evaluation. If you can determine it in advance, then you can quickly get in there, resolve the dispute, and get out of there and save yourself time by not tinkering around on issues that aren't particularly relevant or that aren't the drivers of your particular evaluation. So 4060 is the compensability evaluation. This typically involves the denied claim. Nowadays, it typically involves the denied claim for cumulative trauma that's filed post-employment, okay, the so-called post-employment cumulative trauma claim. Those come to us under Labor Code 4060. If you can smell out and sniff out that your evaluation involves a post-employment cumulative trauma claim, you know that the evaluation is coming to you under Labor Code 4060. You can get in, get out, and resolve the issue on AOE, COE and be done, okay? And you can win. Now, if the dispute is not at the beginning of the claim, as is involved with the Labor Code 4060 evaluation, the dispute comes at the end of the claim under either 4061 or 4062, you know that the dispute involves either the existence and extent of permanent disability, okay, that's under 4061, or any other issues such as work restrictions or need for future medical care or whatever, that comes to us under Labor Code 4062. These are disputes at the end of the claim. So if the examinee has a remote date of injury and has already received a year of medical treatment, you know you're getting the evaluation at the end of the claim, and there's a finite number of disputes for which the evaluation is coming to you. If you can identify what it is, then you can get in, get out, get it done quickly, resolve the disputed issue, and beat the new medical legal fee schedule. In other words, you can drive your hourly rate up even beyond the $3.25 per hour that is projected by the Division of Workers' Compensation. So it begins by getting the big picture and determining which labor code is driving the need for the evaluation. Okay, so the first step involved in getting the big picture and quickly resolving disputed issues of your evaluation has to do with determining the labor code that's driving the need for the evaluation. Okay, so the second secret of success, which again will allow you to get the big picture of the case, allowing you to save time and minimizing the duplication of your efforts, has to do with your ability to spot the recurring theme in the evaluation. Now, as I said in an earlier slide, the numbers of examinees that come to us for evaluations is seemingly infinite, and every single one of them has a different name and a different face and a different spin on their particular story, okay, a different spin. They bring to us a unique spin. And many times we can get confused and confounded by this name, by this face, and by the spin on the story. Whereas if you can step back and take a look at the forest through the trees and get the big picture, you can spot that there are recurring themes. There are a finite number of themes that recur over and over and over again, like Groundhog Day, in our evaluations. Many times we become confounded by the minutia, and we get confounded by the examinee, where we should be focusing on what is the theme of the evaluation. Now, I have a list of themes that we encounter over and over again as qualified medical evaluators. This is not a complete list, but you want to ask yourself, what's the theme of this particular evaluation? Well, a denied claim is one of the themes that you're going to encounter all the time. 6 out of 10 evaluations will involve a denied claim, okay, where the examinee is claiming an industrial injury, but the claim has been denied by the claims administrator. Denied claims have a very specific and unique and exact handling. We handle the denied claim much different than we handle a permanent disability dispute, okay? So if you can identify that this involves a denied claim, you know exactly what to do. You can get in there, get out, get the issue resolved, and everybody's happy, and you win because you exceeded the hourly rate that's provided for by the new medical legal fee schedule. What if it's a post-employment cumulative trauma claim? For those of you in Southern California, you're going to be seeing this one all the time. This is rampant in Southern California. So probably 6 to 7 of your next 10 evaluations are going to require an opinion from you for a case where the examinee is filing a claim for cumulative trauma injury, but that claim has been filed after they separated from their relationship with the employer. You need to be able to sniff this out. Hey, this smells like a post-employment CT claim. If you can identify the theme operative, you know how to handle it and you can get right to it. Is it an accepted claim? Does this involve an examinee that has a prior industrial injury? If it involves a prior industrial injury, you know you're operating somewhere under Labor Code 4663 or 4664. And your apportionment determination, you know exactly what to do. You know exactly how to handle the permanent impairment rating. You know exactly how to handle the apportionment approximate percentages if you can determine this quickly. Do they have a prior permanent disability award? Again, this would fall under Labor Code 4664 and your apportionment determination. And many qualified medical evaluators tell me that they struggle. They struggle indefinitely with the apportionment determination, and sometimes it's the apportionment determination alone that causes qualified medical evaluators to engage and employ the tricks that the claims of payers so hate. Struggling over the apportionment approximate percentages is what causes the qualified medical evaluator to fail to submit his report timely. Qualified medical evaluator will wait till the 29th day or even the 44th day now under the COVID extension before finally confronting the fact that he or she does not know how to handle the apportionment approximate percentages. And faced with the realization of not knowing how to handle the apportionment approximate percentages, qualified medical evaluator has no option except to create a poor or low quality report that simply introduces more delay and more costs and more supplemental reports and more depositions into the system. And that is not how you will succeed in the new medical legal fee schedule, because the qualified medical evaluator is disincentivized for engaging in those particular cycles of action. So identifying the presence or absence of a prior permanent disability award will help you quickly and accurately resolve the disputed issue and get a leg up on the new medical legal fee schedule. Okay, so that's step number 2. What about the final step, the final secret of success for the qualified medical evaluator? Okay, so the final secret of success for you as a qualified medical evaluator under the new medical legal fee schedule is going to rest on your ability to answer the questions of the parties. Now, in the cover letters that we get from the parties, Many times those cover letters seem to be canned, templated, and boilerplated cover letters. But still, according to Regulation 35.5C1, we as the Qualified Medical Evaluator are required to address and answer those questions even when it seems that those questions may not be particularly relevant or customized to our particular examinee. So CCR 35.5 tells us that the evaluator shall address all contested medical issues arising from all injuries, and the reporting evaluator shall attempt to address each question raised by each party in the issue cover letter sent to the evaluator. Now, I can tell you that this was a major bone of contention from the claims payers at the Medical Legal Fee Schedule Committee meetings. And I remember a point in time where one claims payer, male claims payer, he was a claims payer for grocery injured employees in the grocery industry, handled grocery claims. This particular claims payer stood up out of his chair and pointed his finger like this and said, you QMEs never address the questions in the cover letter, whereas we're required by law. So I can tell you this, under the new medical legal fee schedule, the claims payers are going to be incentivized to be very exhaustive and very detailed and very over-the-top thorough in their cover letters, because the new medical legal fee schedule disallows payment for supplemental reports, wherein the claims payer has to come back to the Qualified Medical Evaluator for clarification or for a new, more thorough discussion of issues that were already asked in the cover letter. So the claims payers are going to be requesting supplemental reports from us by referencing back to us their particular questions in the cover letter. So a request for supplemental report could go something as follows. Dear doctor, please refer to my March 1st, let's say April 1st, 2021 cover letter, wherein I request under question number 10, what are the examinee's work restrictions? Can the examinee return and on, whatever the question may be. They're going to refer back to their exhaustive cover letter, and they're going to disallow payment for the supplemental report because the question was already asked in the initial cover letter, but the Qualified Medical Evaluator failed to address the issue and failed to answer the question. That's the big beef of the claims payer, is that Qualified Medical Evaluators do their own thing and go about producing the report by addressing the issues that they want to address. And by resisting putting on their thinking cap and concentrating for an extended period of time to answer the questions of the parties in such a way that those answers qualify as substantial medical evidence. See, if you as the Qualified Medical Evaluator can actually answer the questions with substantial medical evidence, lo and behold, the parties can resolve the disputed issue. But up until now, Qualified Medical Evaluators have shirked and dodged this particular requirement by law, which is a problem. The problem was identified by the state auditor as excessive delays and excessive costs, and that particular problem is a specific target of the new medical legal fee schedule. So the better you can get at quickly and accurately answering the questions that the parties have, the better you can succeed under the new medical legal fee schedule. So doctors, I hope this helps you. You know, we're not yet into the actual implementation of the new medical legal fee schedule. So all of these ideas that I'm sharing with you over the last several sessions that we've had together are all projective, are all speculative, are all anticipatory. And we're looking forward to the new medical legal fee schedule with the knowledge that we have about it now. But the real truth of the new medical legal fee schedule is going to be revealed to us and exposed to us over time as we live in it. So I'm going to come to you again next week with some final ideas and suggestions to you based on the information that we know up until this point in time. And then we're going to conclude this program in approximately 2 weeks after that with some latest findings, latest discoveries about how qualified medical evaluators are actually using the new medical legal fee schedule in their billings. So doctors, I hope this helps you, and I hope you take these ideas to heart in the fashioning of your upcoming evaluations. So I want to thank you for taking the time to join me today. Look forward to being with you on our next discussion as well. And for now, this is Dr. Perry Carpenter. I'm wishing you best of success in your career as a qualified medical evaluator.